This was an act of terror and an act of hate.
At least 50 people are dead in the worst mass shooting in U.S. history. We have a reaction from Orlando and West Michigan as the investigation continues.
Live, local, breaking news. You're watching News Channel 3, live at 6:30.
Good evening. We are following several big stories tonight. At least 50 people are dead after a shooting at a nightclub in Orlando. Plus, Governor Snyder is in Kalamazoo for the Peace Pedal Pray Ride tonight, remembering victims of last week's bicycling tragedy. We'll have a live interview with the governor in just a few moments, but first we want to take you back out to Orlando. CBS's Craig Boswell is live in Orlando as police continue to investigate and contact victim families.
Families are desperately searching for information about their loved ones. They're bringing us pictures, hoping that we can help them and to talk about their loved ones, as many of them have been here since 6 o'clock in the morning as crime scene investigators continue to examine the site of this horrific attack.
Oh my God.
Shots rang out after police arrived at a gay nightclub in Orlando. Investigators say Omar Mateen entered the crowded Pulse Club around 2 a.m. Sunday with an AR-15 assault rifle and started firing. Christopher Hansen was partying with friends.
Just hearing the bang, 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 thought it was part of a song. And then when you turn around, the person next to you is like screaming, there's blood splattering. I didn't know if it was mine or somebody else's.
People ran for the exits. Some of the injured had to be taken to the hospital in pickup trucks because there weren't enough ambulances. Friends and family came to the scene looking for loved ones.
But I don't know where my son is. No one can tell me where my son is. If he's been shot, if he's dead, no one knows.
Most people got out, but the gunman managed to take hostages. Mina Justice talked to her son on the phone while he was trapped in a bathroom.
We sound bad. Just afraid he's going to die.
3 hours after the shooting started, a SWAT team decided to enter the club. Witnesses living just yards from the club describe a large armored vehicle ramming the back of the club and then a long volley of gunfire.
We heard probably about 60 or 70 rounds.
David Ward was able to capture the shooting on his cell phone. The SWAT team killed Mateen, a 29-year-old U.S. citizen from Florida who worked as a security guard. He purchased the weapons legally and had been on the FBI's radar. Sources tell CBS News Mateen called 911 and pledged allegiance to ISIS. The president says the shooting is being investigated as an act of terrorism.
I've directed that we must spare no effort to determine what, if any, inspiration or association this killer may have had with terrorist groups.
ISIS is claiming responsibility for the brutal attack, calling Mateen an Islamic State fighter. The FBI first became aware of Mateen in 2013 after he made inflammatory comments. He was interviewed twice that year and again in 2014, but was determined not to be a threat. Live in Orlando, Florida, Craig Boswell. Now back to you.
Well, as police continue to investigate the shooting at the Pulse nightclub, the FBI has been searching the home of Omar Mateen's family. Reports say they removed several boxes and a computer. A former official from Afghanistan says Mateen's father appears on a TV show broadcast from California, known for anti-U.S. tirades and pro-Taliban remarks. Today, people who grew up in his neighborhood say they were surprised by the news.
He was a normal teenage person, lived a normal life. Never crazy, never. No, I wasn't on personal friend relationship with him, but I don't think nobody really was.
Thousands of people around the Orlando area are stepping up to donate blood in the wake of this morning's tragedy. Just hours after the shooting, local organizations put out the call for blood donors. That call was overwhelmingly answered. Take a look. Long lines wrapped around buildings. Donors say it's a situation you never want to hear about, but it's even more difficult when that tragedy happens in your own community.
It's weird to hear about it from across the oceans, overseas, different countries, and then not even 5 miles from my home, worst mass shooting in American history.
Blood donation centers have seen such a big response. At least one location was forced to turn people away for the day because the number of donors exceeded the facility's capacity. West Michigan is reacting to this mass shooting. The tragedy is difficult for many in and around Kalamazoo to watch, including the LGBT community and those impacted by the Kalamazoo shooting nearly 4 months ago. It's a scene all too familiar, a mass shooting, this one not in our own backyard, but 1,200 miles away. Despite the distance, people in and around the Kalamazoo community are grieving. Lori and Emily Smith lost Richard and Tyler in the Kalamazoo shooting in February. They sent us this statement saying in part, "We are in shock and numb again at the continued violence in this country. Each time it rips open the wounds again for us and we relive the nightmare." The mother and daughter say they're praying for all those involved and go on to say, quote, "All we can say is take 1 second at a time. Breathe, pray, feel the outpouring of love and support from the community and the world, and be forever strong." Words of encouragement, hope, love, and prayers are pouring into Orlando.
I'll do my best to reach out tomorrow and offer our condolences and be there for that community.
Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety Chief Jeff Hadley released this statement saying, quote, "No words could adequately express our sympathy and heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims of the Orlando shooting tragedy, the city of Orlando, and the Orlando Police Department." Jay Maddock, executive director of the Gay Lesbian Resource Center in Kalamazoo, says there are conflicting feelings right now. He tells us this weekend the local LGBT community celebrated Kalamazoo Pride.
It's a rare moment that we can have a weekend and claim a space that is absolutely safe. So to wake up this morning to news of such a tragic act of violence that affected the LGBT community in Orlando is heartbreaking and devastating.
Bishop Paul Bradley with the Catholic Diocese of Kalamazoo released this statement saying in part, "We are shocked and deeply saddened by the enormity of this act of terrorism." He goes on to say, even as we are struggling with the sadness of our own recent tragic circumstances, to pray for an end of violence, hatred, and intolerance in our society. A candlelight vigil will be held tonight in Battle Creek to honor those killed and injured in the Orlando shooting. St. Thomas Episcopal Church and the LGBT community organized the vigil. It begins at 8 p.m. at St. Thomas Episcopal Church located on East Van Buren Street. That's in downtown Battle Creek. And the Kalamazoo Gay Lesbian Resource Center will host a vigil tomorrow at Bronson Park in downtown Kalamazoo. It begins at 5:30 p.m. The Kalamazoo community is invited to attend. Police in Santa Monica, California arrest a heavily armed man who told authorities he was headed to the Gay Pride Parade in West Hollywood. Los Angeles County Sheriff's officials say the suspect told police he was going to that parade to look for a friend. Authorities are now searching for that person. Police reportedly found guns and explosive materials in the suspect's car. This arrest happened just before the kickoff of LA Pride.
This march goes on. We go on, we continue to love, and in the face of hate, hold somebody today.
Neighbors called 911 after the man was seen knocking on doors and loitering. At this point, detectives say they are not aware of the suspect's intentions. For continuing coverage of the nightclub terror attack in Orlando, head to our website, WWMT.com. As the community continues to grieve following Kalamazoo's biking tragedy, dozens are gathering for a Peace Pedal Pray Ride to honor the victims. News Channel 3's Nikki Zizaza is live tonight in Kalamazoo, where the ride is set to kick off at 7 p.m. Nikki.
That's right, Britt. I'm live here at the River Church on Walbridge Street in Kalamazoo, where a cookout started about a half hour ago. The turnout impressive. City leaders, state lawmakers, all here to show support for the victims. Joining me now is Governor Rick Snyder, here to honor the 9 bicyclists hit in Tuesday night's tragedy. Governor Snyder, tell me, why was it important for you to be out here tonight?
Well, it's to show support. This was a terrible tragedy, and to support the victims and their families is critically important. And it's wonderful to see the outpouring of support from the community here. Kalamazoo is a wonderful community, and it's been a difficult time. So let's support the families as best we can. Let's show we care, and then let's do whatever we can to prevent these kind of things from happening in the future.
Right. And Governor Snyder, do you also mind weighing in on the devastating news coming out of Orlando?
Well, you said it's devastating. What a terrible tragedy there. I mean, the violence and such, and it's going to be a while to figure out what exactly happened, but that loss of life is horrific in terms of what happened in Orlando.
Right. Thank you so much, Governor. And as Michiganders continue with their healing process, organizers here say the Peace Pray Ride is set to kick off at 7 p.m. and they're saying it's not a silent ride, it's a ride of encouragement, and instead it's going to be slow-paced. The ride will start at the River Church and will take riders on a duplicate part of the route the chain gang riders were following before the deadly crash. Cyclists will then pass by the crash site where 5 ghost bikes sit in memory of the riders and turn back around. Organizers saying they are blessed to be at the gathering place for this event. Now, organizers here tell me that they are accepting donations of helmets so that they can distribute them to people of all ages. For now, we're live in Kalamazoo. Nikki Zizaza, News Channel 3.
All right, Nikki, thank you. Lance Armstrong is headed to Kalamazoo. The cyclist is riding with the Chain Gang Bicycle Club to finish the ride 1 week later. They'll be tracing the 28-mile route where the victims were on when they were hit. Armstrong said in an interview with the Detroit Free Press yesterday, quote, "For me, this is pretty heavy. Thinking the fact that we're going to complete the ride, I'm not sure that I'm equipped for that emotionally." You can watch the beginning of the Peace Pedal ride coming up at 7, streaming live on WWMT.com.
All right, it is 6:41. A clear and cool evening ahead, letting you know when you can see the space station flying over West Michigan. That's coming up in less than 10 minutes.
The investigation continues into what police are calling a suspicious death in Battle Creek. Detectives tell us they were called to a home yesterday after a 45-year-old woman was found dead. Today, News Channel 3's Mara Thompson spoke with the woman's neighbors.
This is not normal for this neighborhood. It's we're just really quiet here.
A fleet of cop cars took over Anderson Court in Battle Creek after a woman was found deceased in her home with a suspicious head injury. Police were there because relatives called 911 for a welfare check, saying they hadn't heard from her recently.
She was trying to get her life straight, involved in a bad turnover.
Police are now investigating if she was hit with a blunt force object and if this is a domestic violence issue.
People came, people went, and there was every once in a while there were arguments over here, but I mean that happens everywhere.
Neighbors say police were often called to the house.
Very bad. A lot of late night fighting.
Police believe she had been deceased for more than a day, and while neighbors say they hadn't seen her for about a week, nothing seemed out of the ordinary until police arrived.
I can't believe it. I'm mind blown. I'm scared. I just can't believe it happened downstairs. Another domestic violence. I just don't understand it.
Mara Thompson, News Channel 3.
Police say they are awaiting autopsy results and they do not yet have a person of interest. Well, stay with us. Our temperatures are climbing as we head into the work week. Christina has your full forecast after a quick break.
Welcome back to News Channel 3. What a difference a day makes behind yesterday's boundary. More comfortable and much cooler air in your Sunday forecast. Already in the 60s in South Haven, met by mostly sunny skies. We still have some of those scattered clouds to work with. West-northwest winds at 7 miles an hour and dew points, of course, in the 50s, making it feel much more comfortable. Now, you'll be able to see the space station tonight. We still have 2.5 hours until sunset. That happens around 9:20. So from 10:40 to 10:43, a whole 3 minutes to see it. You'll need to look to the west and northwest as it flies southeast. A mainly dry Monday ahead. The opportunity for a few showers mixed in there. We'll get to that hour-by-hour forecast here shortly. And then warm with thunderstorms possible Tuesday and into Wednesday. That humidity going back up. So if you have the windows open right now and into the evening, things change by the middle of the week. Let's take you outside and show you the view over South Haven. Lots of folks still enjoying the day there, and we've seen plenty of boats out through the afternoon. Storm Tracker's Hour Loop keeps any disturbing weather some showers and thunderstorms off to the west. This is our next boundary, though. It's going to be scooting closer to West Michigan come tomorrow afternoon and definitely by the evening, though it's running into drier air. So that's going to keep the threat of showers and storms minimal for the beginning of your work week. Otherwise, we're watching this batch of cloud cover exiting West Michigan. It's going to take another hour and a half or so to see those starry skies once again. They're in the picture. I'm forecasting it by 10 o'clock. Temperatures in the lower 60s then, mainly clear and comfortably cool, but by daybreak tomorrow, I mean, you might want to close the windows. A chill in the air as you're waking up with those temperatures near 50 degrees. Our hour-by-hour model putting Grand Rapids in the upper 40s. Certainly something to keep in mind before you head to bed. You might want to at least close the windows a little bit further, not as wide open as you had them this afternoon. Going through Monday afternoon, the opportunity for a few showers, mainly north of Grand Rapids before your afternoon commute. Temperatures in the upper 70s, and then that opportunity growing closer to Kalamazoo as we get into Monday night and through your Tuesday. Not overwhelming, to say the least. You're not finding a lot of those green dots on hour by hour. However, I think some showers are going to be mixed in. Here's a look at those temperatures across West Michigan. 76 degrees in Battle Creek, 76 degrees in Coldwater, looking at 72 in Kalamazoo, in the 60s along the lake shore. Again, quite a difference. It is 21 degrees cooler in South Haven, 24 degrees cooler in Benton Harbor. Of course, I think it feels much better than yesterday's humid air. 51, that's what you're waking up to daybreak tomorrow. North and northeast winds 5 to 10 miles an hour will switch to the south. That signals the return of muggy and mild air. 85 degrees Wednesday. That's going to be your best chance at finding those showers and thunderstorms.
I'm always just looking ahead to the next weekend.
Yeah, which looks fantastic. Yeah.
We'll take it. Get through the next work week. All right, Christina, thank you. The Kalamazoo Growlers were looking to stay hot with their 7th straight win this afternoon. Eric Bree will have all the highlights from their matchup with Green Bay ahead in sports. And as we head to break, a live look at the River Church in Kalamazoo, where the Peace Pedal Pray Ride is set to begin in just a few moments.
Twice a year, thousands of NASCAR fans make their way to Brooklyn, Michigan, as Michigan International Speedway becomes the focal point of the auto racing world. This afternoon, 40 race car drivers took the track at MAS for the Firekeepers Casino 400. The hometown favorite and Michigan native Brad Keselowski starting the race in the 15 spot, and he would be lucky to avoid all the crashes this afternoon on lap 62. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to split A.J. Allmendinger and Chris Brochure, but instead Jr. goes into the wall, ending his day. And with 38 laps to go in the race, Jimmy Johnson also finds the wall after some contact with Trevor Bayne. Johnson would recover and finish 16th. Denny Hamlin, however, was not so lucky. A blown tire with 12 laps to go forces him into the garage early. But today was really about the dominant performance by the pole leader, Joey Logano. He would lead 138 of the 200 laps, including the most important one, the last lap. Logano takes the Firekeepers Casino 400 for his first win of the season. The Kalamazoo Growlers were going for their 7th straight win this afternoon, taking on Green Bay. It's a tie ball game in the bottom of the 4th until Clayton Yosemite throws a pitch into the dirt. Connor Olson scampers on home on the wild pitch. That would give Kalamazoo the 2-1 lead. A few batters later, it's Eli Lovell driving one to deep left field. It's nearly a home run, but check out this catch by Chris Botso. Spectacular catch of the fence, terrific grab, but it still allows Casey Cooper to tag up and score. Growlers are up 3-1. The Bullfrogs would answer back in the top of the 5th with back-to-back solo home runs off the bats of Chad Mabini and Colton Onstadt. Just like that, Green Bay ties the game back up at 3-3, but the Growlers' offense would stay hot in the bottom half of the inning. Michael Crowley drives in 2 more runs for Kalamazoo, and the Growlers do indeed win their 7th straight with an 11-5 victory. Tigers rookie pitcher Michael Fulmer getting the start on the mound this afternoon against the Yankees, looking to extend his scoreless inning streak. He was once again pitching lights out, striking out Carlos Beltran and Brett Gardner. Fulmer would go 6 innings and extending that streak to 28 1/3 innings. He would get some help from his offense in the top of the 4th. With the bases loaded, Nick Castellanos hits a fly ball to center. That's deep enough to score Miguel Cabrera. Tigers are up 1-0 at that point. But the hottest Tiger hitter this weekend has been Ian Kinsler. In the top of the 7th, he hits a 2-run shot over the wall and left, his 2nd home run in as many nights. Francisco Rodriguez would come on for the save in the 9th. He'd strike out the side. With a 4-1 victory, the Tigers get their first ever series win in the new Yankee Stadium.
All right, Eric, thank you. We want to take you back out live to the River Church in Kalamazoo, where the Peace Pedal Pray Ride is set to begin in just a few minutes. It's set for 7 o'clock. You can see dozens of bikers lined up there getting ready to take that ride. Of course, this ride in honor of the 9 victims hit or killed in last week's biking tragedy in Cooper Township. If you would like to see the start of this ride, we will be streaming it live on our website, WWMT.com.
Was it too early to peek ahead to next weekend? I mean,
never too early.
It's sunny, warm, 85 degrees by this time next weekend. Until then, the chance for some showers and thunderstorms.
A couple of rough days, but you know what? As you've mentioned plenty of times, those lawns could use a drink of water. Hey, we are back right here at 11. Have a good night.